This Romanian Easter cake, also known as a Romanian cheesecake, is really fun to make. It smells incredible. Let's go. So the first step is to make the enriched dough, which unfortunately takes the longest amount of time. We've got all these ingredients down here, but we want to get our milk and a little bit of the vanilla extract in there, like so. Nice. So that's warming up. Do not overblast it. You don't want the milk boiling because it'll kill your yeast. It's the yeast you could do, guys. I'll explain why we're making this in just a minute, but we need to get the dough going because we're gonna have loads of time to chat, all right? We're gonna get 1 tablespoon of sugar into this bowl here, 2 flour, and then that vanilla milk, 4 of these. The last thing is the instant dry yeast, okay? Fast action yeast, instant yeast, all that. Hopefully with that milk being warm, this will help it go, but we need to form it into a bit of a paste first of all. I'm just gonna take you over here because it's got to rest, all right? We're gonna take the bowl, leave that for a few minutes, and the dough is gonna come together. Thank you, Boston, for keeping an eye on the butter that I have just melted. It melted it quite successfully, actually. It didn't splatter inside the microwavey.
Microwave.
In to the milk this goes. And I love how the butter's kind of created its own sort of like head of beer on there. But if I add the oil, is that going to add another, is that going to settle?
Yeah, it just looks like one big thick layer of yellow from here.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? So the rest of the sugar going in with this, dissolve that all through. Hurrah! Okay, so hopefully this, oh, my tea towel's just fallen on the floor. Boston's going to use it as a blanket. Is going to kickstart our dough. I've got to be honest, that does look a little bit boring. However, to the right of me here are some ingredients that are going to hopefully enrich our enriched dough. It should do. So some vanilla extract again. Let's give it some colour. This is 2 egg yolks. Look a bit like eyes. Now, before we destroy our aesthetically pleasing mountain with our buttery, oily, warmed milk mixture, we've got some lemon zest, which I love just doing this anyway. I don't know if it's just me, but when you do this in your house, you grate a lemon and it's just suddenly like, oh, this smells stonking. Try not to get any of your finger in there, but let's drench it. Lift this all through. This is gonna be our dough. You'll see later on, we have got to braid this, and there's a reason why my daughters both never asked me to do their hair. We'll see how that goes, but let's just keep mixing this through. It's really coming together nicely. I've not made that many enriched doughs, but there's just a different sort of texture to it. Once you're happy with it, wrap it. You can use a kitchen towel if you want. I could have used the one I had before, but I think Boston generally has used that as a blanket. We will now let that rise for around about an hour. Keep your eye on it. Bowl's actually still quite warm, that's great. So let the yeast do the work now. We're hoping for that to double and rise. So whilst we do that, let's talk about what we're doing today, like a little bit more detail. So this dish is called a Pasca, and I really apologise to any Romanians. If you're new here, you'll know that my pronunciation, even in English, is normally atrocious. So it might be pronounced Pasca. I think I know someone called Pasca, that's another thing. But this is a Romanian traditional Easter dish. It's sometimes known as an Easter cake or a cheesecake, but it's sometimes served at weddings and Christmas and anniversaries and all sorts of stuff like that. It came very, very close to something here called a kozanac, which looks a little bit like a babka. I've made that before, like all the chocolate swirls in it. I mean, that looks insane, right? But something about like the Easter thing for me, I've done lots of chocolatey videos. I saw that and it was like the enriched dough with it tearing apart with the cheesy filling in the middle. I was like, do you know what? That really intrigues me. Visually it looks amazing, but it could be atrocious. So that's why we're doing this today. I'm really intrigued. Boston, why are you hiding from the Romanian dessert? Boston! Little known fact about me, I can't stand cottage cheese. It's something about the lumps in it. So if we're doing it authentic Romanian, apparently there's a cheese called Braided, and I've definitely pronounced that wrong. But I didn't realise the lumps, that's what I hate about cottage cheese, is the curds. There's different sized curds like in ricotta as well. And you can use ricotta, but a lot of people have said if you use cottage cheese rather than ricotta, it's a little bit more, not acidic, but like ricotta is more bland. So we kind of want to, like, it just looks like mashed up egg to me. Oh my gosh, Boston. I didn't realise you're so passionate about cottage cheese, mate. So the reason I have this cottage cheese instead and my electric whisk to hand, good old head whisk, is if we blend it up a little bit, it should break down those clumps and maybe make it a bit smoother. Let's find out. If I turn it on, classic Barry, here we go. Ugh. I think I'm adding more lumps. What do you think, Tom? I mean,
it looks pretty lumpy, doesn't it?
Yeah. Maybe it's forming mega lumps together as in one big smooth mixture. We'll keep going on. I've got nothing else to do. mingle that together. Oh, so to be fair, that has broken it down. It's made it a lot more smaller pieces of the curd. It just looks like polystyrene to me. I'm so sorry. It's the yeast I could do. Can you tell I'm killing time? Got an interesting selection of ingredients just down here in front of us. So we'll start with some of the familiar ones, some sugar. And I've been told, and this is probably something that I should be doing, but I'm going to stay true to it, you can add more sugar if you want it a little bit sweeter rather than perhaps a little more tanginess. 2 whole eggs. We've got some raisins. That is actually optional, but I really love the idea of it all being, that was what kind of drew me into this recipe, that kind of like speckled look, I don't know. We've got some more lemon zest. Maybe I'd quite like to try lime as well, but I feel like lime's a bit disappointing sometimes, you know, when you zest it. Do you get that, Tom? You know, when you like zest a lemon, I'm like...
Lemon's got much more about it
yeah.
than zest, doesn't it, I think?
Lime's just sort of like the person that turned up late to the party. He went, "Hi, I'm Lime. Nice to meet you." You're like, sorry, lemon's here. Sorry. Last thing I got is semolina, which is something that I've cooked very, very little with. Tom, so you made pasta with this, right?
Yeah, just semolina and water.
You just make a paste and thicken it, dough
it, knead it,
boil it,
shape it, and boil it.
Nice. I've used it to help get pizzas on and off of trays before. It's got a little bit coarse, so it's kind of like no friction, just whoosh. This helps bond all of that together, the cottage cheese, whereas if you were using the Romanian one, I don't think you'd need it as much, but it is literally going to bring that. Oh my gosh, look at that egg white bogey. There we go, look at that. That looks like a really badly made bowl of porridge. However, once that bakes into the center of this recipe, it should look rather interesting. I got so interested with these steps, I forgot there is vanilla that's got to go in there. The good news is, that took me so long to do that step and now add the vanilla that the dough is pretty much ready. Before I do, I just washed out my cottage cheese carton for recycling, and look, there was some residue at the bottom. This is what I mean, look, they look like little mints, don't they? The curds. All together now, dad joke. No way! The yeast has been breathing and it has at least doubled in size. One other thing that we did whilst that was doing its thing, I've got a springform tin here, just lined and greased with some baking parchment to help guide it on its baking journey. So apparently now the dough will get divided into 2. Okay, and this goes into our springform tin. I'm gonna actually oil my hands. Like, I think it might be a little bit too late for that, but just anyway. There we go. By doing that, I can move that around and effectively just create kind of like a plate for the base for this to go in. So I'm just pressing it into the sides like that. And I did say at the start, yeah, this is going to be way more interesting than like a chocolate Easter egg. And part of me now does wish I kind of went that way, but come on, let's keep with it. Okay, so apparently we shape this into like a big log, oil on the hands, flour on the work surface, and create 3 pieces that are roughly the same size, okay? This is looking right now like nothing what I envisaged. I'm like, where is this going? Okay, so I look like I'm about to play cricket. I hope these are gonna be the right size. If not, we'll just kind of bodge it a bit. So the braid is gonna be joined at the front here, just squished together. I'll tidy that up if I need to. Flare these sides out, bring the outside one in, and then the middle one out. The other outside one in goes to become the middle, and then this one, the outside comes in to the middle like this. You just keep bringing it in like that. I feel like I can get that a bit tighter at the top there. I might have to tweak that, but you can kind of see the theory, and this is actually going not too bad. You just got to keep it, like particularly that one, keep that out there and go right in there like that. Hey, I tell you what, that's not too bad. Look at that. I need to probably try and just undo it and do the opposite here. But I'm gonna take that, tighten it up a bit more at the other end. Woo! Braid ahoy. Tom Brady would be proud. Tom Brady. I've got to be honest, I've like stood here for like, I don't know, 10 minutes now just contemplating what to do next. I have just preheated my oven. This has got to go in and basically wrap around inside this.
Like, it's taken the pleasure you've got out of actually managing to do that braid.
Yeah.
You've got to be real careful because that could fall apart.
It's quite delicate, yeah. It has risen slightly, even just waiting for that 10 minutes. Right, let's just do it and not think about it. And yeah, let's just go for it. Oh, it's stretching. Oh my gosh, it's massive. Look at that. Like a big rope. I'll tell you what, I need to tidy that up, but let's just look at that initially. I've seen a lot worse than that. But like, I can push it back against the edge to form, I guess, a bucket for that cottage cheese filling, which I don't know if it's about you, but I've completely forgotten about. Semolina, raisins, eggs, cottage cheese, lemon, vanilla, something else. I'm just going to take a little bit more out. The reason I pushed the dough apart, I was like, hey, don't move. Like, don't move, dough, because I'm coming in and I'm going to hold it. It's like that Spider-Man meme, isn't it? Like, I don't want to do that, but we could have cottage cheese go like that on a train to visualize that. You know what I'm trying to say. Let's gloss this. So we'll just go with a fully beaten egg. Gorgeous. It just feels like it's freshening it a teeny bit. And also acting as an amazing gripper for some sugar. So this is granulated sugar rather than caster sugar, so it's a bit more coarse. Sprinkle that down. We now bake this thing. I'm excited. Easter pun intentional, because so far we've nailed that. Whatever happens, we've had a good time, right? Let's get this in this preheated oven for a whopping 45 minutes. Romanian calm. With my oven gloves looking like I'm some sort of wrestling champion, triv it down. It smells sensational in here. Look at that. Is that good?
Looks unreal.
Right, we'll let it cool a bit and have a chop. Just before I slice it though, look at that golden colour. The braid has done its thing too and sort of encased it. Oh! All right, here we go. I might be too keen. This could all like completely crumble, but I really want to try it. Oh, through there, like a custard. Look at that! That is exactly how I saw it. You've got this combination of the cream filling and a fluffy bread in the middle. That is outrageously interesting. Let's give it a whirl. Romania, I hope I've done you proud. I'm just gonna see, can I pull apart that braid? Oh wow, look at that. Oh. I don't want to eat the middle bit. By the DeLorean of Doc Brown, that was incredible. Right, let's see if we can get a bit of this all together. We've got that fill in there. Oh, here looks like the perfect place. Everything in my heart, mind, body and soul wants to hate it, but there's just enough sugar, enough citrus running through it. It's comforting, and then you get that support, the sugary crust from the braid. That is so good. You've got to try this, Tom. Any good?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Really good. A perfect mix of slightly salty cheese. The currants add a real hint of, real hit of sweet.
Yeah, a little burst, isn't it? Every time you hit, yeah.
Lemon, vanilla, you're tasting everything we put in it.
I say that sugar on that crust as well, just kind of like, where that sourness is slightly, it just boom.
That's a really nice alternative to your standard Easter cake.
It is, isn't it? I love it. I love it. I'm so glad that we gave it a go. So I guess, let's say the raisins are optional. Put a whole Easter egg in it if you want. I'm sure Romanians don't do that. I hope I've done you proud, like I say. If you'd like to see more recipes from around the world, do let me know. And cheers for watching. Ciao. Yeah, like this and the Welsh rarebit, you can sort of think, okay, life is good.